In a previous video we showed you how you can automatically create a table based on the definition of a dialog. But what happens if you already have an existing table and that you'd like to bind to a dialog? So in this case we already have a table over here in our MySQL database, this table here called customers, with fields customer ID, first name, last name, etc. And what we'd like to do is bind that table to this dialog over here. So let's go ahead and see how that would be done. So I'm going to go now to data binding, and this time I'm going to choose the bind the controls to one or more existing tables. So we'd like to specify that it's going to be a SQL table, and we'll choose our connection string, the MySQL demo database. Then let's go here and add a table, and we'll choose a table. There's only one table in that database right now, and we'll choose customers. Now in this case this dialog is going to be bound to a single table, but if you had a dialog with repeating sections, for example, you would clearly want to bind the dialog to multiple tables. So you can carry on here adding new and additional tables, and we'll demonstrate that in a subsequent video, but for now we don't need to worry about that. So Alpha 5 looked at the structure of that table and determined that customer ID was the primary key and that it was an auto increment field. So now next we can go now to the bind section over here, and this shows all of the controls in my dialog, and now I need to go and specify which field in the table each control is bound to. So for example, if I double click on company, I can go and bind it now to the company field. So I can go there and click OK. I can automatically bind fields. So if I go there and click automatic, you can see that all of the fields for which Alpha 5 could find all of the controls for which Alpha found an exact match, it automatically bound those. But customer ID now, so let's go here, double click on customer ID and choose that. Let's go to first name and bind that to the first name field, and bind that to last name. So now you can see I've gone and I've specified the automatic binding for all of the controls in the dialog, and I can go ahead and click OK now, and I'll save that. And so now that everything has been bound to a corresponding table, I can go back to my server-side events now, go to my after dialog validate, and then quickly go here and add in server-side action scripting to do data entry against that table. So let's go there and click OK, and we'll choose the edit the record just submitted, and I'll display my debugging information. Let's go there and save this, and I'll go here and I'll type in, say, Tom Jones Beta Corp, Boston, Mass 01803, and then I'll go ahead and press the submit button. So you can see Alpha 5 did an insert into that table, and if I now go and look at the table, I can see Tom Jones has been added to the table. So what we've shown here is it's how easy it is to bind a dialog to an existing table, and what we showed in the previous video was how easy it was to actually create a table definition based on the controls in the dialog. So in many cases you'll have an existing table, in some cases you won't, but either way the dialog makes it very easy to do the data binding and then automatically generate the code that executes the insert or update statements. I hope you found this interesting. Thank you very much.